The dream car is something that every car person has in common. These cars are cars that they have respected their whole life and someday dream of owning. However, a lot of people don't really get the chance to own their dream car. So today, I have come up with a list of cars which are viable alternatives to iconic dream cars. The Supra is one of the greatest Japanese cars of all time, and every TikTok car guy's dream car. It's rear-wheel drive and is incredibly tunable and looks pretty cool as well. But there's a problem. Yeah, these cost £45,000 in the correct spec. So, what about this? This is a Mitsubishi 3000 GT, another Japanese coupe. This thing was designed to compete with the Supra. However, it's got a lot of things that the Supra doesn't have, including active aero. It actually does have active front and rear aero, and also has active four-wheel steering, which is pretty cool and makes this car handle very well. I mean, sure, it's probably not as fast as the Supra, but still, it's a great car and it's very cheap. This is the Aston Martin DBS, a beautiful super coupe fit for James Bond. Its V12 engine sounds great, but this car is still £30,000 in good condition, and that's a lot of money. How about an alternative from Jaguar? The XK. The XK is actually really similar. I think that they're actually basically the same platform, but the Jaguar has a different engine. It's got a 4.2 litre V8 with a supercharger, which is slightly more economical than the Aston Martin's 5.9 litre V12. It's also a really, really good looking car, and it's really cheap. The Ferrari California is a drop-top convertible GT car, which is actually one of the cheapest Ferraris that you can buy. That's good news. But when I say the cheapest Ferrari, I mean that this thing costs £50,000. That's not cheap. However, you can sort of get a car that's very similar, but it's a Maserati. It's still got a Ferrari engine very similar to the one found in the California. This is a 4.7 litre V8, so it's a bit bigger and has 440 horsepower, which is a bit less, but it sounds magnificent, and for half price, this is a steal. The RX7 is one of the best looking Japanese cars of all time. Its swooping lines hide a 1.3 litre rotary engine, which can be a bit temperamental, but this car is getting expensive now, which is unfortunate. However, for a lot less, you can get the car that came after it, the RX8. It's also got a 1.3 litre rotary engine, also got rear-wheel drive. This thing's got 240 horsepower, which is a bit less than the RX7, but it's a lovely car if you know how to keep it running. But if you do, £4,000 might be a pretty good price to get one of these. As a kid, I always loved these Lamborghini Gallardos. They were just the coolest cars, in my opinion. However, the thing that really made this car cool was its engine, the 5 litre V10. Gorgeous. However, these cost £60,000, which is way more than I thought they would be. However, there is an alternative. Yeah, I know, but hear me out. This has the same engine with 2 turbochargers strapped to it. It's got nearly 600 horsepower as opposed to the Lamborghini's 520. This thing also has 3 extra seats and loads more cargo space, and making it the ultimate daily driver. And for a third of the price, how can you say no? Another car I idolised as a kid was this, the Mercedes SLS. This amazing gull-wing supercar was an homage to the 300 SL, and this was a proper supercar. And actually, it has held its value pretty well, but it's still over £100,000. So how about this? Yes, I know it's got a smaller engine, it's 5.4 litre, but it's got a supercharger. This is the SL55 AMG, one of the cheapest Mercedes AMG cars that you can buy. These start from around £10,000 and have 500 horsepower. Let those figures just sink in just a little bit. I mean, a drop-top supercar for 14 grand? The DeLorean DMC-12 was DeLorean's very flawed but very famous sports car that famously starred in the Back to the Future franchise. This car had stainless steel instead of paint. This car had gull-wing doors and a wheezy Renault engine, and a massive cult following. However, how about this, my dream car, the Renault GTA? Just look at it. It's a symphony in fiberglass, and it also got a V6, pretty much the same one you find in the DeLorean, with a turbo strapped to it. This thing is one of my favourite cars of all time. I absolutely love it. I love the way it looks. I think this is one of the best cars to ever come out of France. The AE86 is the dream car for all anime fans, having been featured in the initial D franchise. This thing is rear-wheel drive. In fact, it was the last Corolla to ever be rear-wheel drive from factory. This thing is expensive, very expensive. However, the alternative is this, the Nissan Silvia S12. This thing is rear-wheel drive, like the Corolla. It's fastback, like the Corolla. It's got a 1.8 litre turbocharged engine, unlike the Corolla, so it's more powerful. And it's got pop-up headlights. And it can be imported and bought for less than 10 grand. The Bentley MSan was crafted by Bentley as an alternative to the Rolls-Royce. It's a fantastic car. I love these a lot. It's rear-wheel drive, it's got a fantastic interior, it's got a twin-turbo V8 making over 500 horsepower, and that still comes to £40,000, which is a lot of money. However, from Volkswagen, you can get this. This was actually the basis for the Bentley Continental. It's got a W12 like the Bentley Continental, and it's got 4 doors. So obviously this should be an alternative to the Flying Spur, but I think if you really want a dream car, I think you should be dreaming about the Mulsanne. But if you haven't got the money, then buy this. The Ford Sierra Cosworth is a touring car legend. This thing was basically a race car for the road. It's got a big turbo, it's got 4 doors, and it's got rear-wheel drive. And a ridiculous price tag. However, further down in the Sierra line you have this, the XR4i. It's sort of entry-level performance variant. This thing is still rear-wheel drive, however, instead of a turbocharger, it's got a 2.8 litre V6 from the Ford Mustang Fox body. This makes 150 horsepower, and it's pretty cool. But it actually comes as an estate or a 4-wheel drive version. These are very underrated and very cheap. So it's your decision now. Are you going to buy your dream car? Are you going to wait and work to get your dream car, or are you going to settle for the alternative? It's your choice. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you like it. Please like and subscribe for more in the future, and until next time, goodbye.